Welcome to Fellowship of Games. This is Alan.
This is Dawn.
This is John.
And we are about to give you a review of Prison Break 48.
This is a game that is currently being developed by Jamboree Games, and we played a 5-player version, and it was a prototype. He said it was prototype 15.
Yeah, we played probably about 2.5 hours, so.
Yeah. I don't know if there's an official link to the game for time, but there's a mechanic in it we'll talk about. But it was quite a bit of fun. We learned about this at Gen Con, but at Board Game Geek Con. We were looking, I said, what's Prison Break for? I've never heard this. And I looked at it. The artwork was cool, and I said, let's give it a shot. And it was actually turned out to be one of the highlights for my gaming.
Yeah, it's an American game. It's not a Euro game. It's very much an American. They had a sign you could get, and it was called American Trash. So
Ameritrasher.
Ameritrasher. But they thought that was pretty funny.
But the event was basically the developers are wanting people to play their games, get feedback. They're developing games. So we said, sure, we'll do it. And it turned out to be one of the best experiences I had at Board Game Geek. It was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. We'll review the board. I'll include pictures. I have them pop up as we go because it doesn't exist yet. Mm-hmm. So the two gentlemen, Alan,
Richard,
really good guys that listen to your feedback. Just straight up, the game was solid as is. It was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it, but we had some suggestions, and another gentleman there had suggestions. And they had talked about the stuff that they had learned that they hadn't put into it yet. So I think if this game comes out, it could be a lot of fun. I really do. Alan,
what kind of style of game do you think it was?
It's action selection. You're given a goal to take given the goal of the game. Let's just get that. We're all dealt a character. I remember mine was Louis Esco, and his art. It's based. If you've seen Oh Brother Where Art Thou or Shawshank Redemption, it's that. It is that era, and it is so dead on. The card I got just looked like a mug from 1948. It was perfect. And on the back of it, it had the flavor text. Boy, they did great on the flavor text. Flavor text of what the character did to get in prison. A little dark, but still funny. And then it had his current stats. And then you were dealt an escape plan. And the escape plan is what you had to have to escape. And they had set it up. They had gone through and set it up that no matter what character you got, no matter what escape plan you got, you had to get 25 points worth of attributes. There were several attributes tracks. Health, sanity, what else? Skill, respect.
Insanity.
Insanity, yeah. There were several of them. Strength,
yeah.
Strength was one of them. Stealth, yeah. Yeah, that's what it was. And so you had to get 25 points worth of abilities, and you gained that by going to different rooms in the prison. If you went to the warden's office, you immediately rolled the dice, and you got that much in stealth. And then you had things you could do in the warden's office. If you went to work in the rock yard, you rolled the dice and immediately got that much in strength. Or was it skill? I think it was skill.
Skill, yeah.
And then you got paid for the day. And if you
the quarry, you got paid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did both. You got to roll the dice and you got paid. And there was another one you go
to the woodwork shop and get a shank.
Yeah. And then you go to the infirmary, and that's where you got your health. And so you go around and you would get your stats by visiting these rooms, and you'd also get items because you had to have 3 items and 1 rare item. Be at a certain place at a certain time, and then you escaped. And whoever escaped first won the game.
Yeah.
And so you were dealt out these cards, and you had a board that had 9 slots in it that represented times throughout the day.
Your player board.
Board, and you'd sit there and you play your cards, and you go through the morning, and then lunchtime, and then afternoon. So it was pretty interesting, neat game. I liked it.
Yeah. My favorite aspect about it is also probably one that I don't know how they handled it because you got paid in smokes and change.
Yes.
He said he based it all off the price of a pack of cigarettes, which was 18 cents.
18 cents a pack in 1948.
Again, all this can change by the time they get production, but so he based it off that. So everything, your economy system, which was kind of an interesting economy system.
Yeah, their economy system was neat. At the end of the day, you'd roll it, and they had this little chart, and you would just go up and down this economy system changing.
And that's what things cost. No matter across the board, that's what your items cost,
pretty much items was all you would get, though. Items, and I think they were all items.
Or you got paid. That's what you got paid, too.
No, you always got paid the same amount.
Oh, yeah. There's something you got paid.
On the top of your board, it had a pay, and how much pay you
So-
got and how many smokes you got.
Oh yeah, your
And
characters determine that.
You could play a
Yeah.
card. One of the cards you could play would let you upgrade those. So
Yeah.
if you were lucky enough to get one of those cards.
Oh, visitation gave you smokes.
Visitation gave you one smoke. Yep, one smoke.
And they're unfortunately they said they won't be in the final game. But they had Altoid tins, and that's where you stored all your stuff in, and that was the coolest
But they were
thing.
your prison locker.
Yeah,
They weren't
prison
Altoid.
locker.
They had a color-coded figure, and they
Yeah.
had a
Yeah.
color, and that was your prison locker.
It was really nice, and that was
Yeah.
actually one of my gripes. Is like I really like this, but
Yeah.
opening and closing that would be a pain.
Because you need to look in
for
it.
Yeah.
these fumble
Yeah.
fingers. If you've watched me open a dice pack, you know
Yeah.
my fine motor skills are just not there. And
Yeah.
they said, "Well, we're going to change that."
Yeah, because we loved it, and they're like, no, that's out of the
'Cause
price
we would
of
open it.
production.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we're like, well, when we buy this game, we're gonna buy an Altoid tins and put stuff in that.
Yeah, we're going to make our own
Our
for
own
those who want to
prison
do
locker.
it. Yeah.
But yeah, it was actually for homemade components. They were really good for what they were, but that's all going to change.
Yeah,
They weren't homemade. They were just beta components.
Yeah,
I would
beta.
say.
They were using Seafall as their
Yeah.
As their box
storage
set,
box,
yeah.
and the
Yeah.
Seafall box
Is that,
they,
yeah.
Yeah.
they printed something out and glued it to the top of it, and then the
Yeah.
components, the little sea chests you have in Seafall, were the ones they store the components in.
So it's really not fair to talk about components other than the really cool one.
And
I thought the components, their little standees, were
Yeah.
really
They were
nice.
cool, yeah.
They had these.
Yeah.
Everybody had their own colored base, and that's how you knew who was where. And the black colored base, which they had a dog. They had a
Yeah.
prison dog named Tombstone.
Tombstone, yeah.
yeah.
And you
that
had
was
2
cool.
guards.
2 guards, 3 altogether.
Yeah, 3, yeah.
And
You
the
had a
warden.
main guard and 2 extra guards,
They
and
would
then
come
you
in
had
when
a
there were
warden,
riots. Yeah.
and they would release one guard, and they had you had an individual player board, and then you had a main board, and the main board had all the rooms of the prison, and you had a D12. So you started out in your cell block, and they would roll a color-coded D12, and your character would go there, and that's where you'd start.
Yep.
And then the main guard, there was the warden, the main guard, and a second guard could come out. So
Two
you
other
had
guards.
two other guards, and they would walk through it, and so there were randomizing cards that would make more guards come out, and
Yeah.
if they showed up, you'd get a shakedown.
Yeah, you had 2
and you're
authority figures.
2
You're-
authority figures.
trying to collect all these items, and so if they shake you down, they might take your item, and it might be one you need to escape. Then you'd have to go try to steal it out of the warden's office before the end of the day, or he incinerates it. So
Or you had to get it from another. That was one of the big things. I made a note. I was like, this is awfully hard. And Alan, his name was Alan too. He goes, well, you're in prison. It's not supposed to be. You get what you get.
Alan Babb,
and
yeah.
as soon as he said that, my enjoyment level of the game shot up.
he was like, oh, yeah.
Because it just made it made sense before, but you're kind of used to, like, if I want this, I can do this, this, and this to achieve it. And that one, it's like, if I want this, I can do this, this to achieve it. But it might disappear from the game forever
Yeah.
through no fault of mine. Someone else might want it also, and I have to get it. And you're in prison. Go get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is nice that I think every item there were 3 or 4.
Of each item.
3 of each item, and then there were 6 wilds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was essentially 9 of every single item
Yeah.
in there. So it wasn't really bad, but how you got items, you could get it. You go to a room where each room had different things. You could straight up there were items in a locker, and there were items that were available.
3 common and 1 rare
Yeah.
is what you had to get out.
Yeah, and so the items were
Yeah.
out there. There was items in the locker and items that would just be out there, and you could buy those items. You could steal those items. So that's how you got it out of or you could break into the
Break
locker.
into the locker.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that.
so those 3 ways you could get it, kind of, 1 illegal and 2 legal. But the third option you had, let's say, John had an item I wanted. This one guy had a pair of scissors, and I needed a pair of scissors. You could go knife fight somebody for it. You didn't kill him, but you had you knife fought. That was a way.
Yeah.
You had X amount of dice. They called them blood dice, and that was your health. And you would roll those dice, and whoever had health at the end, they won the fight, and they got the item. So
Yeah.
Whoever bled the most
Bled the least.
lost it. Whoever
you rolled
bled
your
the
dice,
least
you rolled
won
blood
it.
dice,
Yeah.
you move them out.
yeah,
It was fun. I liked it. It was thematic. It fit perfect. We kind of talked about some ideas on things that might make it different, and he said they'd mentioned ideas other people had, but it was actually as straight up as it was, I enjoyed the game.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
one idea that was brought up that, for me personally, I thought would be the perfect addition. That is, at night you went back to the cell block. Every night, everybody went back to the cell block to end the night there, and the next day you'd roll your 12-sided dice and you'd go out where you're at. And they were talking about having a bartering system where there were items that were out, like you could spend two, because the cell block, nothing happened yet.
Yeah.
It was the only one that was dead space in the game, and they were like, so you could spend two of your items to get one of another, and then that would let
That
others.
was already spent out of the
Yeah.
pile.
Yeah, everybody else could be like, well, then I could spend two items
Yeah.
to pick up one of the ones they got or something else that was out there.
Yeah.
So that kind of represented a guard or a late night person smuggling that item to you.
And- Or are you trading amongst yourselves?
or you trading
Yeah.
trading with other prisoners, essentially,
Yeah.
was the idea that there was another prisoner who happened to have a pair, using scissors again, there's scissors, wrench, rope.
Yeah.
And so that was an idea that came with it. That
I'd be
would,
curious if they use it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be cool. And I think you should
John
have,
came up with it, I do
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah, I think we all did. But or have let people barter. Just say, hey,
Yeah.
you have scissors? No, I'll give you 3 packs of smokes and a 20 cents.
Yeah.
Offering a bartering
Yeah.
system,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Because I don't think that would add much to the game. Just let that happen any time during the game, but your characters have to meet or something.
Yeah.
They said they wanted the fights, though. They built it a lot around fights, so
Yeah.
they were him and Han about those two. I don't know if they're going to add it or not.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
Then they said the other group that played before us fought constantly. There was nowhere near winning.
yeah. My character kind of got beefy early on because everybody else was able to go everywhere in the prison, but I got all these stat cards, so all I was doing was playing stat cards. So my guy got beefy, and I was the boss's right-hand man, like right off the bat. And there were all these events that were supposed to the boss of the prison, not the warden, but the boss. And so all the things that would have affected people was mostly what affected me, and I could shrug them off because I was the right-hand man.
Didn't you win because of stats?
No, Richard won.
Oh, okay.
I would have
Yeah.
been third.
Okay.
I would have been third. So I think.
Spent that raises one mechanic I thought was really interesting because the game. The only thing I can say that it could potentially be a long play
It could
game.
be a long game.
They said it took them about 2 hours, and they know the rules really well.
Yeah.
But if you see it's going long, if you get tired, you can say, "Let's call the governor at the end of this turn." And basically, the way the gameplay is at the end of 7 turns or 7
7
A
days.
week.
The governor
you're
shows
on
up.
death row,
Yeah.
and you have 7 days to get pardoned.
1
or
week to escape.
Escape or
Escape
get
or get
pardoned.
pardoned.
Yeah.
And the governor shows up. So they said, no, as you're playing, if you just get if you've gone long, if you're like, hey, we got to go get some pizza or whatever, done for the night.
Yeah.
You could just call the governor. And the governor, I think there were 10,
Yes.
15 cards.
Yeah, it was a little stack
Something
of
like
cards.
that.
We stopped after day 3, for
Yeah,
instance.
because they were looking more for feedback than full
Yeah.
games. But then you pull them out, and basically that told you what stats you add up. There's a fair bit of math. If you if you had so many.
The insanity stats are worth 5 points each. The skill stats are worth 2 points each. This stat, and so
And all those cards determine which stats were valued. So even if you decide, well, I'm going to quit this game early so I can win, the stats may not be against you.
you
So,
may have had a really high insanity and skill, and they flip over a card where they're only worth 1 point each.
Yeah.
So the spread wasn't high. It was like 50, and I think he won with a 80. I want to say 79
Yeah, it was
or
pretty
81.
tight, yeah.
So it was pretty tight little spread considering
Yeah.
we hadn't done a whole lot in the game. Yeah. I was.
And it was randomized.
It was very randomized.
It isn't anything. If
He
you
just happened to get a stat that he had a lot of that scored high. He's like, if that hadn't been there, I wouldn't have won this.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. It was, hopefully I get to bring it to the table someday.
Yeah,
And really
I
do.
told him if they put the game out as it was, I'd buy a copy.
Yeah.
Yep.
After playing it, I
After
bought.
playing it, it was just a fun game to play.
And I really liked the guards going through the.
Yeah, you could.
I mean, yeah, the
the guard, you had to do
randomization.
guard math because the guards, they had a path
Yeah.
they followed. And they followed it, and the warden would jump around. You'd play a card that says, move the warden to the infirmary, move the warden
Yeah.
to another place. But the guard followed a path, and so I was in a room, and I was like, okay, I'm going to play this card, and this card, because the guard's going to go here, then he's going to go with me. And then he's here, and the third one let me get something out of that room, one of the items I needed. So I had to do what they call guard math.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The two we have mentioned on the cards to do the cards. Some had a green line or red line. They're probably going to change that to some other icon.
Yeah, because of color
blindness.
Color blindness.
Yeah, and they're like, we had that mentioned, but if you were in a room and your card had a red line on it, if a guard was in your room, you could not perform that action because they had eyes on you.
Yeah.
If it was green, you could do it in front of them. So that changed up some of that as well.
It did, but also if your stealth was high enough, you could do it right in front of them. So every stat, they had a kind of a matching stat aspect where
I forgot about
you
that.
got special
if
skills,
you had enough stealth and enough something else, like if your stealth was high enough, then the guard wouldn't see you take something, and then you could spin stealth to make sure the warden didn't see you as well. So that was a neat aspect of your stealth, where you went in the stealth track gained you abilities, and then as they moved up, it let you spin that as a currency. So
that was neat because like if you had to get a 10, like a 8 in strength, if you were at 8, and you sold it down, you had to get it back up by your
escape
prison time.
Yeah.
So it was a good game, and the two gentlemen are really nice, fun to talk to, and spent a lot of time with that.
Yeah. The shakedown was really interesting. If any time 2 authority figures, including Tombstone the dog, so that happened, you could purposely Dawn's there, and the warden, the guy's going to go in her space, so I'll send the warden there at the end of my turn, and so at the beginning of the next round, he's going to move in there, and so when she starts, she immediately gets a shakedown. And your items were up here in 6 slots, and you'd roll a 6-sided dice, and she had an empty slot on 6, and sure enough, she rolled a 6. Lucky. She was lucky in that game.
Don, didn't you do something with the dog? I remember you rolled special for it.
Somebody fought the dog. You fought the dog for items.
I fought the dog, and
she
I
fought
also
the
had
dog, and she won.
Yeah, and you also could get knives that increase your fighting ability.
In the workshop.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because knives, you also had to use knives to protect your items and keep them, or you could put your knife in your locker.
Yeah.
And use it in a knife fight later.
Yeah, you either had it in your locker so you could use it offensively, or you would have an item and you would stack up to 2 knives by the item to use it defensively. So,
and he did mention, I think he said the cards that made your day. So you had 7 days, and you had 3 hour or 9 slots, morning, noon, and night. And then the cards, he had a randomizing stack, and there were, I think he said over 200, and they were balancing, and some were movement, some were actions, etc. And then they also moved the warden around, and then they moved the prison boss around.
And he also had the prison boss do actions. There was also a way of getting. He played a little bit more advanced version. We played a basic version where you could get different escape plans.
Yeah. Yep.
And
you could go to the library and study and get a different escape. So like if you had to have 3 basic and a rare to get out of there. Yeah. So if you saw my basic's not coming out, or my rare's not coming out, or all of them got incinerated and taken, and I can't get it, then you could go swap out your goal, but then you'd have to.
If you were shaken down and go to the warden's office, and if it didn't get out of the warden's office by the end of the day, it was incinerated.
He'd incinerate it. So.
There was one. It had an economy system.
Yeah.
That changed every day, and that's how you bought your. It rolled a dice every day, and it would move on this little track, and that's how. Some things, when it went up, were more expensive. It went down, it was less expensive, so you could buy low and sell dear.
High.
Yeah.
Where did you sell? I can't remember.
You just sold wherever you wanted
to.
You would sell it. You'd stick it in, a room, and then someone else could go there and buy it. You could only sell the super rare items.
Okay,
that's
the
it.
rare.
You couldn't sell the
commons.
And there was something too about you dropped items in rooms.
Once you got 6 and you drew another one, you went into a room, like let's just say I had 6 items and only 2 were some I needed, and I'm still looking for the others. You go to the room, you'd pick up an item, and you'd have to pick which slot to put it in and drop the one and then you would put it in face down.
Yeah, that didn't really come into play in ours, but I can see.
Didn't play enough.
We only played 3
rounds.
days.
Somebody did right at the very end. I don't remember what.
Guy next to me.
Yeah, he had a lot of items.
Dave, I think. Yeah, I can't remember his name. He had a lot.
But it was really interesting. They were real receptive to feedback, and
it was fun.
I thought it was cool. I really hope they do get it made, because I would buy this game.
Definitely.
And what kind of got me was there were some wildly different opinions on how to play the game also.
Yeah.
Because something that like I thought was a pretty good mechanism, somebody else was like, "I hate that mechanism. Get rid of that and do this, this, and this." And I was like,
Hiding the items. Yeah,
hiding the items.
The other guy was like, "You should." I don't like memorization, but that was kind of key to the game. I don't think they could get rid of that.
Because you're hiding.
That was why you're fighting and you're protecting it with extra knives.
I'm with God. That was. I don't like memorization.
Yeah,
stuff.
but that was kind
But
of
it
a
was-
key mechanic.
It fit the theme perfect, so I deal with it.
It
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, I'm not great at memorization either, but I was like, I can memorize. I saw you had a rope. I know the rope
And I
lesson.
need that
I can
rope.
memorize that one rope. I can forget everything else, but know that rope's right there.
And I need it.
And I told that guy, I was like, if we got another round, my entire plan was to come knife fight you for your rope. He thought that was funny.
I kept saying, "Oh, they need a barter system or something like that."
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we want to encourage it because
I think they kind of like the idea.
Yeah.
But there's always.
He liked the idea for the cell block.
Yeah.
Because that
Yeah.
was the room that didn't have a purpose. So he
Yeah,
said
it was
maybe
kind of
that could.
It's cool. I liked it. And they're real receptive. And if you said you didn't like something, they didn't get mad. They were like, "Tell me why," and stuff. So I liked it a lot. I actually really enjoyed the game.
I'm rooting for them.
Yep.
I hope to see it on Kickstarter or
Yeah.
just straight up for sale sometime in the future. Maybe they'll have like a some sort of push somewhere advertisement. So I'm hoping for it. I'm rooting for you, Jamboree. I'm rooting
Yep.
for you, Richard Allen. I hope to see this game get produced.
Yep. Prison Break.
Don't keep it to
48.
yourself. Share it with the rest of the world.
Yep. Awesome game.
Well, be sure and like and subscribe. Got anything else you want to add about it?
No,
Yeah?
it was a solid game.
Yep, solid game. Enjoyed it. All right, like and subscribe and join us at fellowshipofgames.com.